To order the June 25th Budget Subcommittee meeting. We will start with grants and gifts.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen. And
No. Yeah.
Melissa is on
Oh, hi, Lisa.
virtually. She'll text me if I swear. She's on. So we'll start with grants and gifts. The first grant I have this evening is from the Executive Office of Technology Services and Security. We're applying for a cybersecurity awareness grant. What this grant will do will provide funding to cover the cost of our training module we use for cybersecurity, which is called Know Before. We've been using Know Before for a couple of years now. Basically, trains people on, phishing and recognizing when an email comes through, if something's fraudulent or not. You see a lot of it with like payroll related. So payroll office might get an email from me, but it's not from me. But there's certain ways you can identify that it's a fake email address and then report it. So, like I said, we're using Know Before, so it's I think roughly 10,000. The cost of Know Before, so it'll certainly help a little bit. But it's part of our overall cybersecurity strategy, which is training, multi-function authentication, which we've already implemented, firewall improvements, which we've done, and then network drives, the elimination of network drives, moving to Google Drives protects the district. And then the last one is managed detection response. And what that is it's really, it's like security for the district cyber-wise 24/7, because a lot of the attacks don't happen, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They happen on holidays and weekends. And we don't yet have that. That's kind of the last piece of the cybersecurity we're looking at. So we are partnering with the town to see what we can do to get that additional security. But I think we're in a great position in the district as it relates to cybersecurity versus some other districts. I think Falmouth was just hit last month, maybe, with ransomware.
Does you said it comes with training? Is that like an annual required training that staff has to do?
It's not required. We highly encourage. We get pretty good participation, but we have so many mandated trainings for staff that we'd need like an additional PD day, I think.
Gotcha.
But folks are from a compliance standpoint, we are getting a lot of participation.
Excellent. Another question? Moving on, was there anything else in grants and gifts?
Yes. So gift. Thank you. We got a nice donation of and if Kathy Harrow here, she'd be happy to hear this, because when we walked through CPE some months ago, we've really been pushing to try to get a car donated that's
I saw that.
newer than 2018, just from a diagnostic standpoint. So Planet Subaru of Hanover, and a little presentation. You'll see a picture shortly here. They donated a 2018 or 2019 Subaru. The owner, Dale Lathrop, actually a Weymouth guy. I think he may have kids in the district. And it was really the coordination of CT Director Sam DePina, and then Tiffany Henry Brown, who's our CTI coordinator. So the intention of the gift is that the car will be housed and live in the CT auto shop. We can't have a register. It can't be driven. It's just it lives there, and the kids use it for teaching and learning and training. So the teachers were thrilled to have that gift. So thank you to Planet Subaru of Hanover.
Moving on to
Audits and reports. So for audits and reports, there's a couple things to report out as we go into the summer season here. Department of Transitional Assistance is still going on with their summer meals for folks who get any sort of SNAP, Mass Health, SSI. benefits. And so in addition to, you know, the meals that are provided and snacks, anyone who has a DTA card or again, you know, has benefits through Mass Health, SNAP, or SSI are eligible to get $120 for the summer. I believe it's per student in the household. And I think
It is per student,
Per
and it also includes those that have Mass Health as a secondary for those that have disabilities, so not income contingent Mass Health, they are also included in this.
So we're sharing, Desi notified us to share out, so we did share that out through messaging through Kelly to the district.
Important to note too, that you will receive 2 notifications from Sunbucks. The initial letter stating that your child or person is eligible, and then a second follow-up with the card. You must keep the first letter because it has a number that you have to reference to activate the Sunbucks card.
Thank you for that. Still under reports here, bus applications, we're just sharing out to folks. We've sent out messaging that applications are technically due June 20th. However, we know people will continue to apply through the summer into the fall. But in terms of our routing and scheduling, we give priority to those folks who applied by June 20th. But it's important to know for folks that still apply as early as possible. Eventually, we'll start to develop wait lists that have to clear. But nothing new with this. It's just we want to be more clear in our communication with it. So messaging did go out about bus applications through all the buildings before the end of the school year.
Can I ask a question related to that?
Sure.
If someone receives special education transportation and mid-year they're not found eligible, or they decide they do not want the special education transportation, do they go and apply for the bus?
They can.
Okay.
Yep. And usually by mid-year, it's rare that there's not room at that point mid-year.
Okay.
Usually our wait lists are clear by, you know, mid-October. So if someone's situation changed.
And is there like a prorated cost to that if it's like mid-year?
We try to, if it's after January, we try to do like a prorated half cost. And then of course, depending on their situation, the bus fee for the year is $265. Second student's $265, and then third student is like $100 something because we do have a family cap of $630 for bus fees. But of course, if they're free and reduced eligible, that would apply to them as well.
Okay. Any questions?
So I'll go on to now facilities project updates. So just want to update you guys on some of the work we're finishing up with a lot of the maintenance projects that have happened this year. I have to thank, you know, obviously, great collaboration with the town through asset management, you know, John McLeod and Mike Fella and the team, and then DPW, Ken O'Connell and Bobby Feldman. You know, their teams are very supportive and help us with some of these projects. And then, of course, it goes without saying, Mike Manning and Tom Merrill, they just do a fantastic job of, you know, obviously emergencies and safety are our top priority with buildings and grounds. But then in addition to that, just prioritizing, you know, preventative maintenance and repairs, and then improvements. So we have many buildings, lots of square footage and hundreds of acres. So, so just some of the projects we've talked about during the year. The first being where we're at with the modular classroom. So again, just to remind the committee, 7 modular classrooms this year across 3 schools, helps with our growing rates and space concerns we have. So we focused on Hamilton, Nash, West Augusta, estimated cost of $4.3 million. So I actually just wanted to share here. So I think a couple meetings ago, I gave some rough aerials of Hamilton, Nash, and West Augusta. So what I want to do now is just kind of dig in a little and just show like on site what it looks like and what it will look like. So I'll just flip between the two here. So for Hamilton, as you come in the main entrance here, is anyone on the computer? You can see this on your screen, right?
I don't have one. Do you want me
Maybe
to
we
see if
can.
I can?
Oh, I'm slacking.
I can open it. I have to put my,
I think Alyssa raised her hand, so I'm assuming that's a yes, thank you. So Hamilton,
Christine said she can see it.
excellent. Hamilton, you come in the main entrance here, and then right here is where the new fire lane and van loop will be contained. And then you have the three modulars with a covered canopy to the building. And then over here, and Jeremy's aware of this, what was this, Jeremy? The space here?
Tennis courts,
Tennis courts?
yeah, at one point.
And
There's old asphalt there that's kind of,
so we've actually, over improvement, we were able to remove that old asphalt, which is nice.
yeah, that's great.
Because as you see in the picture, and we'll get into it in a moment here. So for Hamilton, again, this is as you come in from this entrance here, there'll be a canopy to where the gate is, or the fencing is here. This is just construction fencing. This will be the footprint of where the modulars will go. 3 of them across this way. So the canopy will come and connect right around here, and then there'll be an interior hallway that runs this way, and then access to 3 classrooms. You know, we do recognize that we're impacting the basketball court, and this will have to be eliminated, and this shed will have to move. So we were
On
able.
the other side too, though, right?
There's a single basketball.
Single on the
Yeah.
side. But given the location, and taking up the 3, with the 3 modulars here, we were able through the DPW to remove the asphalt, the old broken up asphalt that exists here. So if the building or parent council or something want to do something with either green space or play space, they could do that over here.
Outdoor classroom, that'd be cool.
Oh, yeah, they have one right here currently.
Yeah.
Any questions on Hamilton? Wait, just stop me along the way. I'll go through, and if you want to stop me at any, go back, please feel free. The next is, again, here's the picture of this is where the old asphalt tennis courts were. So for Nash, you come in from Stetson Buildings over here. So here's the entrance. You come in front of the building. This is the back of the building. The playground's here. New fire lane will run this way. 2 modulars, which will connect to the building here, again with a covered canopy. So here's a ground shot of it. Here's the entrance here. And then they'll walk. There's 3 steps here, so this will be ramped. There'll be new storefront entrance. You know, right now it's the solid doors, but it'll be glass doors with fobs. And then you'll have the canopy that connects to the 2 modulars, which will be located right next to the playground.
That cement will still be there? So it's
Yes.
on the cement, it's after the cement.
Correct. This cement will remain, where the fencing is where the foundations will go.
Okay.
And then there'll be a covered canopy with a ramp that will go slowly up into the building.
So
Is there steps there right now?
There's 3 steps, 2 or 3 steps right here.
Gotcha.
so when you come around, because I know the playground is right there.
Yep.
Is there anything that will stop someone from driving through there? You know what I mean? I know that
Playground, you hit the playground before you would hit the modules.
Like some sort of barrier.
Yeah,
there's some
there's
sort of barrier. but
curbing.
The old road too.
Because they'll see that drive, but
Yeah,
like,
they'll try to drive down that drive too.
Mhm.
It's,
just because
oh, it's,
the people that go into the Stetson building sometimes, I don't,
Well, currently this is fire lane currently, so
Right.
it's kind of drivable.
so they usually don't, I know they don't usually, but.
So there'll be
just 'cause it's new.
curbing, there's curbing here.
Okay,
There's fencing. I don't know if there's,
there is like a barrier there.
is
You-
it ballots?
yeah.
there's not a ballot though, right?
No, it's not a ballad. There is like a distinguished
Yes,
area.
yeah.
Like,
though.
that you shouldn't pass, like, don't drive past this.
Yeah, actually, and when you pull in from the main, you wouldn't even really know to drive around there.
But once, as we start to create that lane, we'll just make sure there's appropriate sign.
Signage.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think you can get over there from Stetson, can you? Is there something separating the property or no?
There is from Stetson, yeah.
So it wouldn't be like you're
Yeah,
in the
actually,
park.
the back of the
There
parking
is,
lot. Yeah.
but
You would have to go up our driveway. No, I hear what you're
I
saying.
do too.
It would be anyone that's on property, Cause right now they could, I mean, they can technically drive.
Yeah, but
This fire
that's what I'm thinking about. I'm just thinking someone could
Turn in,
turn into that old fire lane,
right,
and now you have all the new ramp and the
right.
covering exposed.
Mhm.
So maybe if there was like a pillar, like a concrete pillar put there.
Yep.
To block
Just-
it off or something.
That's what I'm saying.
The security bollard.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the after effects of Apple Store.
A throwback.
It
from
really is.
Chapman.
It really is. Cause I was like, oh my God, someone could just,
There is something there. I can't remember what it is.
Worth a look and
It's fencing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like what you see. It's the wooding planking fencing, like the, 4x12
Okay,
posts.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh, the communication board's there too.
No, I think it's a
The
good point.
communication board is right there, so they would have to drive through that too.
but I'll look at,
just,
I'll review,
just a thought.
no, it's a good thought. I'll review, both fire lane
Mhm.
existing
Probably the new one at Hamilton as well,
security.
I guess.
Hamilton's not as, this is an interesting
This
one.
was an interesting, yeah,
Yeah, Hamilton is just, it's really just pushing out what, but I do want to double check what is here currently and what we could potentially do here and here. So,
just borrow one from Target, just make a big red
Big red
balls.
ball. You could put like a temp fire gate.
Like, we borrow one for,
but thank you for that. We'll look closer at that.
thank you.
Roll it down.
Last is Wes. So this is the one, last time we spoke about, had to revisit just based on some questions and concerns that came up. And it was really about the, the entrance to the two classrooms. You have an entrance here in literally the sight line to the entrance of the building. It's just, is that the corner jets out here. So we talked about how we could address that, and the way the modifications we made within the project is to, so if the modulars are gonna be here, this is the corner I'm talking about that comes out. So in this picture, it's the corner here. So to get from the modular to here, you don't have a clear view from the door to the door. So the idea would be to, from the edge of the modular, fencing that runs along this path and continues on to the building. A gate here that will be closed, obviously during the school day, and then a camera likely here that will give you a sight here, and then all the way to the modular classroom. Lindsay, before she, as she's transitioning out as principal, also has ideas inside how to manage and address any safety concerns. And she's shared those with the new principal, Tana. So this is a change since last time we met. We locked it. We invited you guys down. Danielle came down. And I think the addition of the fencing in the camera, at least from what Lindsay has learned from parent council and staff in the building, is that did alleviate the concerns that they did have. It was a great points, and we learned a lot from it, and I think it's a good plan. And it will also be a covered canopy, like we mentioned. There'll be a covered canopy here.
And they're gonna have sinks in the rooms,
We have portable sinks.
portable sinks in there, okay.
We do have portable sinks. And I think only one of the current buildings has taken us up on the portable sinks. I think the other two buildings have not, but we've shared the principals. If they want to get them, we will get them.
Okay. You said, so cameras will be on the back,
We're looking potentially likely right here.
and are we gonna, will there be some on the back of Nash or by Nash and Hamilton as well?
Exterior, no, we typically don't have the exterior cameras.
Because the issue was they didn't have
The visual.
the clear
Clear,
vision of the
Yeah.
building. Whereas with Hamilton and Nash,
they will.
Yeah, it honestly was given how restrictive we are. I mean, we're literally, if you notice, there's no fencing yet, because I think we're just finalizing the permits. town is the footprint is so, the margin of error just between sewage and tanks and stuff underground is, it really couldn't go anywhere other than right here.
Right.
Created the sight line.
Flooding, is
Mhm.
it typically on the parking lot side that they get the flooding?
Typically,
Okay.
but that was factored in the design too,
It
because
was.
these Hamiltons will be, I mean, not Hamiltons, Wessacussets will be, Hamilton and Nash will be foundations.
This one is gonna be on pillows.
West will be raised slightly, just like, Murphy School
Murphy's,
is.
okay.
And Murphy School is a function of just the building. Oh, thank you. Any other questions on modulars? They're being made right now. in, Indianapolis or Indiana somewhere.
Oh,
And John is going out there soon. Just for final design work, so that they're being built now. Just based on last time we did these, the modifications of shelving and storage. And then John has done some other modifications like the ones last time that requires a site visit. And then they'll ship, they just get driven out.
How many pieces do they come in
They come in 2 per class.
per classroom? So it's like a mobile home
Yep.
type thing, or whatever those are called, prefab house.
Yeah, which, I mean, they're built with 2x6s versus 2x4s. They have a lot of steel reinforcement in them, so they are, once you get on site and connected, they are good little structures. And Jeremy and I spoke with the union too, just about some of these concerns too, and I think they were in a good place with the modulars. West is really the only.
Question, but we walked through that. We actually looked at some video and.
Yep.
Kind of. Resolved any questions or concerns they had.
All right, moving right along. So there's our vehicle from Planet Subaru. Very exciting. I think it was on Channel 7.
it was?
Yep.
That's cool.
I missed that too.
Other CTE improvements this year, the play area is finally complete. This was the play area that we've talked about several years that was mulch and wood chips. And so it's much bigger than the picture I took here. There was staff and students here. I don't think they wanted to be in the picture, so I cropped them out. But brand new fencing around and then asphalt, and we did a coating on it. And the teachers are joking, the kids feel like they're in the ocean, right? This. So that project's complete. The baseball field at the high school, new fencing. So new backstop, JV and freshmen predominantly play here. I think varsity plays over at Libby. And so first and third base lines, new fencing and new backstop. And then at Mullins Stadium, the scoreboard is up. It was really a replacement, so it was a much quicker process. It was just replacing on the existing I-beams, the scoreboard. So that scoreboard is up. To answer, was it your question last time?
Mhm.
Usage,
I think
so only youth football uses the scoreboard as a rental and they won't be using it this summer, so
So we get to use it first.
we get to christen the scoreboard.
Break a Gatorade bottle over it or something.
The company,
That's cute.
Electronics is coming out next week to do training on the scoreboard. It's a pretty basic setup, wireless connection to it. So that's the stadium. Softball fencing was complete, so apologize for the picture. This is my photo work, so backstop, again, fencing for first base and third base. The new installation of a home run fence. And then last but certainly not least,
Oh my gosh,
the
yay,
scoreboard.
finally.
So love it. It's beautiful. Looks great. Looks like it's always been meant to be there. Again, this was a new install, so you can see the pad, the footing here with the I-beams, the installation of the scoreboard. Our guys did all this electrical work in box, and we're literally just waiting for National Grid to drop the meter in there, and we can flip the switch.
Is it the same training for that scoreboard for the other?
Yes.
It's good.
Yep. And then I'll just finish with this. It's on our list for next year to talk about, Johnson School. The Facilities Planning Committee will need to reconvene, to review and make recommendations for future planning and consideration of Johnson. So just want the community to know we haven't forgot about that. So as we come into a new school year, I know the mayor has shared that this committee will need to reconvene. We've talked about it at school committee. I'm sure Kathy will, I can talk to Kathy too, but mention it tomorrow night that would be the focus of this subcommittee, planning committee, is Johnson's.
Any questions?
The only thing I was just kind of, was talking about projects for next year now. We're looking at doing, so our capital list really encompasses, making sure we're staying on top of things like rooftop units, HVAC, mechanicals. As I mentioned, Johnson School is on the capital list. The high school has
Are there
locker
any parking lots on the capital list?
parking lots,
for
paving.
the Schools?
We do have, they're usually on the lower priority side, unless I think Academy is on there as a, when it goes on the capital, there's like a feasibility piece to it. So I know Principal Higgins has, want us to look at the upper lot in the hill there.
Yeah.
I think that's the one right now off the top of my head that's on capital, but certainly as we come into next year, we can put any recommendations on for capital projects. I'll be honest, I don't know what's available for funding for capital. And then some smaller items we're looking at is maybe a locker room renovation at the high school. And then where one of our priorities, potentially with our banner funds next year, would be a new PA system at the stadium
Mhm.
field.
Yeah.
We had that crackling at
Yeah.
graduation. that
Yeah,
we want.
definitely needed.
Yep.
You could only hear like certain times when the chorus and.
And we think it's the speakers themselves, the system and equipment is new and in great condition, but I think we've had to put some controls on the equipment. Sometimes folks get in there and they turn it up higher than it should be, so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
put some controls in place, but unfortunately, I think speakers have been damaged over time, so we need to replace speakers.
Good to know. Any questions? Moving on.
I think there's a typo on my part, I apologize. Under contracts for Cameron Chapman, we will be doing champions. Alyssa worked with Lori Lee and Jenny Dolan before she left to make sure that in line with the contract and what made sense for the building, they are going to offer before and after school programming at Chapman next year.
Can you talk about the age versus the grade?
Yes, EEC, it's typically through grade 6. However, if you're 12 years old at any point as a 7th grader, you're eligible to participate. So that 13th birthday is key. So at Chapman, it would be 6th and probably most 7th graders that could participate.
What if you had an 8th grader that was still 12 at the beginning, but turned 13?
I think it'd be,
Okay.
yep, it'd be okay. And then for anyone that's 13 or older,
That's fine,
7th and
yeah.
8th grade, we will still, or Chapman will still hold a number of extracurriculars and activities after school. I believe it's the same rate as the elementary. And I think the focus would be before school is probably more physical and after school maybe more academic support.
Was there like a big interest in this?
Enough interest, yeah. Yep, it did, I believe, Adams, when it was middle school, had, it was Waycare at the time.
Yeah.
And I know when we brought in champions, initially we had questions on 6th graders and then And then as we started talking this year, we explored it and we're gonna do it next year.
Great. Any questions?
What are we to now? FY 26 final budget. So tomorrow evening on the agenda, so council met last week, 2 weeks ago, and voted our budget. So it was the same budget that the mayor proposed for us, $90,113,902. And that will be on the agenda for the committee to vote tomorrow night.
Great,
Any other questions on the budget? I feel like we all have budget fatigue, so.
absolutely. Budget.
Just as it relates to the FY 26 final budget from the state standpoint too, I have not seen anything more. There was some supplemental measures for additional circuit breaker that would greatly benefit Weymouth. I think they were looking at 90% reimbursement versus 75%. That hasn't gone anywhere. So where we're at now with the chapter 70 is we're getting our minimum aid, which is $150 per student. 242 out of the 320 roughly districts in the state are getting minimum aid. They did increase it to $150 per student. But nothing else in terms of, I think with circuit breaker, they actually brought down the reimbursement rate to like 45% maybe. Now they're bringing it back up to 75%. That would have been, honestly, that would have been devastating if they funded it only at 45% to us. So that's all I have for a budget update.
Great. Moving on to non-union grid update.
Non-union grid update. Okay, so there's two pieces to this. So tomorrow night, and I have Jeremy here, and but tomorrow night you have two job descriptions on for school committee. One of them relates to this grid, and the job is it's Betsy's. It's the Betsy retired as the community
Community development coordinator,
and so you want to
or
take
district development coordinator, actually.
so.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, you can touch on that and then we plan the grid after.
Yeah, I think, did you guys all get this
Yeah.
job description? So you're probably a little bit familiar with it if you've had a chance to look at it, but it's really taking the work that Betsy did as a liaison and continuing that work, but it's going to be on a part-time basis. And the reason for that is Kelly Powers was able to pick up some of that work in her role. And also, we're really just going to focus on the fundraising aspect of it. So working with some of our community partners, part of it will be athletics. So it's kind of more focused than Betsy did so many things and a lot of things. And just to try to sustain that, I think we've got to pull it in a little bit. So we talked about what we think the need is right now for that position. And then we developed, there was no job description really for it. So we developed that job description.
Which you guys will see tomorrow night. I mean, if you have any questions now, certainly ask, but you guys have those two job descriptions you're reviewing tomorrow night. And as it relates to the development coordinator, as Jeremy said, it's going to be the halftime position. And when we're looking at the grid that this position should be on, it's not an administrator role, so it's really on that non-union grid. We spoke with the union just because of the word coordinator. And you know, Mike was comfortable that coordinator, as it relates to this position, it's coordinating of the development and fundraising activities. It's not curriculum, it's not direct student services, it's not student support. It's really a one-off position that is strictly oversees the development and collaboration with community partners on fundraising. We just expanded the description of this SNU grid
Marketing,
R from
PR.
supervisor to supervisor/coordinator.
Yeah, it's really not school-based. It's not anything that ties into the WEA. Of course, it impacts kids and families and all
Right,
that.
definitely
Impacts our schools,
to do
but
with
in a
education.
completely different capacity.
Yep.
Yeah, so And we played around with the coordinator name, because there's other names you could come up with, officer, I think, what did you just said, something you mentioned.
PR and stuff.
PR, yeah, so
Yeah, like a relation.
there's a lot of, but we like the
Yeah.
idea of coordinator, because that's
Okay.
what they're kind of doing for our district in terms of fundraising. So again, what Brian had just said, the union's fine with it, they understand that we have curriculum coordinators in our district, which is very different.
Right.
And the name itself kind of speaks to that, so.
And there's no change to the grid other than the description, so it's the same rates that have existed on this grid.
Any questions?
So what step is it? Would it be
Step one.
step one? Okay.
Yep, new entry, yep.
And that's the same with the second job description we're gonna vote on tomorrow.
Yeah, kind of. So we don't need a place to put that on our non-union.
It's just a title.
It's also what we want to try to do, and I can talk a little bit more about this, and I will tomorrow night, is
Yeah.
start to bring some job descriptions to you guys. It's a pretty hefty undertaking. There's a lot of job descriptions out there. Some of them are pretty old. Some of them don't exist. Some of them have been approved in the past. So I'd like to try to chip away at that and
Makes sense.
get a process where we bring 2, 3 to you guys and to the committee and
Yeah.
kind of work through that process. And so this would be the first time we kind of look at this. And if you want to, I don't know if you want to save for tomorrow, just speak to the
Yeah.
procurement piece and
Oh, yes, certainly. So the other one is,
why we're bringing it, I guess.
so the other one is, it really should have been done pre-pandemic. So Alyssa's role as finance manager, her role also in this district is, she's our procurement administrator. And this came about when, MGL 30B had changes. And if you read it 30B, I think it's section 19,
Mhm.
references that, the town and school committee for schools, need to have a named or designated procurement officer for the district. Alyssa is that MCPPO designation. So we simply updated her job description to reflect the title that includes procurement administrator, and then put the duties of a procurement administrator within the job description.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's any feedback you guys have in the process.
I think, as Jerry mentioned, we're really interested in what the committees feel is the process, because we think the process has been lacking in the past.
Mhm.
And job descriptions should evolve with the times just as well as
Right.
jobs do, so.
Correct.
For sure. And I almost wondered too, we were just kind of throwing around the idea, do we have an expiration on a job description to make sure it kind of comes back every 5 years?
Like a cycle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cycle, because we have job descriptions literally from the 80s and
Probably before that.
You'd actually,
there's some other ones before.
Probably some
you'd
before that.
probably be mortified if you read some of them in the
Sure.
80s.
Also, as we restructure and people take on the responsibility of another job that we may not fill,
Right.
it should be added to the job description.
Yeah, so we're just trying to formalize the process a little more. Not that we need more work to do, but it is important, and we should try to keep up with it, so.
Makes sense. Moving on to
Yep.
fiscal year 27.
Yes. Can't believe
I
it.
want to cry.
I know.
Crazy.
Here we are.
So here's the schedule. I'm already gonna recommend, talk with Danielle, recommend eliminating where we are right now with everything in the budget, the August 20th meeting. We usually have that as a placeholder if we need to meet over the summer. I leave it to the committee, but my recommendation is that we don't need to meet.
Love it.
Thank you for that. I will do a forecast earlier this year than we have in the past. And that's simply because we want to continue with just being really open, transparent, and communicative about the budget and where we are. The mayor's office has already shared that there are concerns about revenues next year. So I've already done some back of the envelope calculations on, what it would look like. I want to do a more formalized forecast this summer, just to look at and see like where we might be a year from now, or even sooner with the budget process. So we'll have that probably early September. We'll kind of talk through it, Mel, Jeremy and myself, the team will talk about it internally. And then we'll bring it to budget sub early October. It's really like a month or two ahead this year, but I think it's necessary. I think it's going to be a tougher year, potentially than the last couple.
Yeah, I think the earlier we have those conversations and
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah, my concern is we've gone from 10 years of, incredible growth, and then a few years of, the money from recovery of the pandemic, to now where we've completely depleted reserves. We need to build reserves up. So that's why we're having a lot of conversations around, like, even the banner program, even, champion the revenue generating nature of that contract, ways we can supplement our budget, so that the cuts aren't as deep going forward.
Any other questions?
So these meetings will still be, because I know there was a mention about subcommittee meetings being an hour prior. These ones are going to be separate.
Budget is.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
We can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
I think the discussion was just for,
The other subcommittee.
yeah, the other policy.
Policy, athletics.
Yeah.
Budget has to be on its own night. We can't.
I don't think it was, but I don't think it was said out loud that
Yeah.
these will stay.
Correct.
We can clarify
Yeah,
that.
I think if Kelly hasn't shared, she'll be sharing soon the draft of like the school committee meeting schedule. And on the side is kind of those proposals of Thursdays we might have an athletic subcommittee or a policy meeting.
I think that this might even be hard to do.
Okay,
That's all I have, Danielle.
I will open it up to public comment, but I don't see anybody here and anybody on public comment I don't know, Will.
So if anyone, I don't know if you raised your
No,
hand,
you can't do it webinar style, right?
they could put a message in, they could raise their hand or put their message and put something in the chat,
Okay.
because we see the chat. So I guess if anyone has any public comment
You can.
or questions,
Chat.
please put it in the chat.
No. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Chair.
Thank you, everybody. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
And we had a second? You had a second? Nobody heard?
We're good.
We're good.
You good?
The record.
Thank you all.